Hi, Leo. Okay, so for the readings in this time, we're starting out with a little quote. So this is by Rainier Maria Rilke. It is called Staying Porous. Be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves. So hello. So Leo, for your reading, the main point, I guess you could say, is embracing limitations, right? And this is your journey of self-acceptance and growth. Pretty awesome. So as you know, in life, right, we all find ourselves caught in a web of expectations, externally, internally, both from ourselves and others, right? So the Five of Swords came up in your reading, and this to me signifies a profound lesson in acceptance. Okay, it's inviting us to confront our limitations and establish boundaries and understand the confines of our own destiny, right? So a lot of people don't even know what their destiny is. If you've come to a place where you actually realize, and there will be signs, you'll innately know without having to do anything if you're going in the right direction or not. Okay. And there's limitations around that endeavor. So even though it is something that we're being pulled to do, yes, there's still limitations. And even if there was a contract agreement before you got here about what was going to happen, well, like anything, as we know on this earthly realm, we change our minds. Things change, plans change. But we are trying to remember, Leo, that we have made agreements and arrangements and contracts, and we need to keep to them as much as possible. So if there's anything in your life right now that needs to be tied up and solidified, now is the time to do that, especially before we get into next year's spring. And because this is a seasonal change right now, I'm feeling there's some anxiety. There could be, right? When you start to go over all of these things that you may need to get done, just take a deep breath, okay? Because this is an interesting, energetic time for everybody, right? When we move from one season into the next, no matter where you are on Earth, okay? There's subtle changes for some. Others can feel it very immensely, but either way, change is occurring. And so just taking your time. And as we get into winter, we'll have longer nights and shorter days. And that's okay. If you need to take that extra time to get things done, that is okay. Just know that any progress is still progress, okay? All right, so moving on. Yes, so understanding the confines of our destiny. So I invite you to review Orestes' story on Patreon. So he grappled with the weight of his family's burdens, right? And we too, with too much, so we must embrace the realities, right, of our situations without succumbing to the complaints or avoidances that we so often might want to take participation in. This acceptance, right, it's not an act of defeat. It's rather a paving a way for personal growth and the right to leadership and vitality in our lives, and knowing that, right, being in charge is being a leader. Okay, the king is considered a ruler, but a ruler, a good one, should be a leader, somebody who can walk beside you and give you that inspiration to keep moving along. Not someone who's going to sit on the sidelines and not do any work and just shout out to other people to do the work for them. That's not a leader. That's not a good ruler. Okay. So acknowledging that our life circumstances may not seem fair. So that is crucial. It's a crucial step towards your meaningful progress. Okay, it requires you to swallow your pride and face your fears head on. Okay, we often attempt to transcend these limitations, reaching out for goals that may be inflated and unrealistic. I think we've all been there, done that. If you ever heard of the pipe dream, okay, so yet, right, to understand our true capabilities, okay, so we must cultivate clarity of mind and an honest self-awareness. And all of these things, they can be hard at first, right, to master, but there is a plethora of available resources that can assist with that. Okay. And we want to find, after we've recognized the acceptance of our inner laws, because we all have our own individual laws and pathways that we follow consciously and subconsciously, right? And if you can start to work through and understand and tap into that unconscious part and bring it up into the light of day, whatever comes up, just accepting it, right? Without judgment, which can be very hard. But once we do that, the fear kind of goes away, because everything that we inherently have gotten stuck to ourselves from birth up until the point that we're at in life right now, it's almost like peeling and getting all of that off and starting with a fresh canvas, and then moving forward in the future, right? We kind of have set up this new barrier around us, which it's not a blockage to keep people out, but it's more of like a protective filament layer, right, on the outside of our being, so that we can still connect with others and hear their beliefs and their theories and their way of life, but not have it stick to us, because then, that can be really confusing. It can muddle the water up to where we don't, if you don't have a firm grasp on who you are and what you believe in, you can end up becoming a sponge, right, and soaking up everybody else's. And then that's when we start to see a lot of identity issues and internal struggles that are various, because we now can't find ourselves. We're at that point lost. Okay. Although I don't see you having that issue at all. If anything, you have a very strong sense of self. But yeah. So moving onward, Leo. Among the celestial messages, okay, I show that Virgo offers wisdom through the imagery of the goddess Iris and the rainbow bridge. So if you want to check that out as well on Patreon. So we have a lot more detail in the goddesses and specific information on the rainbow bridge. Okay, so the bridge represents the fluid connection between opposites, okay, highlighting the importance of harmony in our relationships. So for those born under your sign, Leo, you may currently feel the tension between these two distinct aspects of your personality. Okay, so one side embodies that father figure, the source of wisdom, while the other nurtures a perspective tied to more abstract ideals, and sometimes at the cost of emotional depth, right? So this duality can create confusion as both parts of you vie for resolution. So my question here is there a middle ground? Is there a compromise that can honor both sides? And if you want to take some free form writing to just allow yourself to tap into more of the masculine, fatherly energies, and then more of the feminine, however that plays out for you. And then even if you want to take, a few days and then go back to it, with kind of fresh eyes and insight, and just see what comes up. Maybe do, the initial outline, and then do a draft and then a final revision, and just see what comes up. This could give you some good insights. Also, I see, where is your moon transiting in this time? Because that will really help you to start to understand kind of where that feminine and watered kind of divinity is coming up in this time with this seasonal change. We have a specific moon reading on Patreon. It's on the first tier, but everybody has access to it, and we go over the monthly transits of the moon through each sign and the specifics of what that means and how it can help in your journey, if you're interested in that. Okay, so now that we have realized this duality, we can start to figure out a way to balance it. Okay. I got the black cat in here. Let's say hi to Leo. Yeah. Okay, so striking a balance, right, in this emotional landscape is super vital, because the point here is to, try the best we can to get to that wholeness within ourselves, right? Accepting all the parts of ourselves. Having a lack of judgment, that can stagnate your growth, right? And it leaves us trapped in these cycles of boredom and disconnection. So instead, we're called to foster, right, that genuine feeling of harmony and cooperation, and this can enrich our relationships. So the pursuit of temperance serves as a reminder that even the grace of the goddess Iris cannot sustain the fool forever. Growth is indispensable, and the moral lesson of life must be embraced. Okay? So within each of us lies a strong and a reflective, air-like essence. And this embodies in the mythical figure of Atlanta, the huntress. So if you want, again, more detailed information on her story, go ahead to Patreon. So with her lofty ideals, this serves as a mirror for many of us, right? It's making us reevaluate our high standards in various aspects of life. Okay? This longing that we have for perfection, it can create an aura of aloofness, right? It's isolating us from that warmth of human connection. So while striving to elevate ourselves intellectually and spiritually is super noble, it is essential to remember that perfectionism often breeds disappointment, right? Particularly in matters of the heart. Yes, kitty. Yes, kitty. My cat, she always comes up for some love, and she just wants her whiskers rubbed. She's just meowing. Hey, want to say hi? Okay, where are we, Leo? So, Leo, as you continue on your path, right? Recognize that true virtue is forged through loyalty and integrity. So what are you loyal to in your life? And the ability, right, to endure that sorrow without breaking, that is a huge testament to your strength, okay? And you want to give yourself credit for that. I know that you don't want to revisit hurtful past experiences, but if you're, able to take the time to kind of separate from your feelings almost and revisit those situations just so you can remind yourself of how much strength and endurance that you have because you pushed through. You are where you are right now because of all that you have endured and that you kept going. That shows a lot of strength. And in that, understanding that the pursuit of this perfection, right, especially in relation to the father figure, it can be an unending cycle of fulfillment, right? Unfulfillment. And at some point you have to just let go, but before you can get to that point, you have to recognize what it is and have acceptance of it. And then you can let it go. So there's a reminder that inherently we are human. We are all imperfect and made of flesh. Therefore, we must learn to be gentle with ourselves and to find beauty in our vulnerabilities. Leo, the journey of self-acceptance, it's going to be filled with challenges, but it is only through these trials that we come to appreciate our resilience, right? So by acknowledging your limitations, embracing the lessons of balance in your relationships, and confronting your ideals with honesty, you will create a pathway of personal growth and fulfillment. The dance between acceptance and progress is delicate, yet it's essential, right? It shapes your destiny and it guides you towards a life that is rich with authentic connection and purpose. So as with Virgo's reading, your plant ally is also ashwagandha. So this is the masculine and the feminine. It is associated with the sun and the moon. And for more information, you can go to Patreon. For now, I want to read an excerpt here for you. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so in the Hans Christian Andersen classic, The Little Mermaid, Ariel gives up her beautiful voice in exchange for legs. This is seemingly innocent and captures our deal with the modern devil. For aren't we taught that mobility is freedom, whether it be moving from state to state, or from marriage to marriage, or from adventure to adventure? Aren't we convinced that upward mobility, moving from job to job, is the definition of success? Of course, there is nothing inherently wrong with change or variety or newness or with improving our condition. The catch, however, is when we are asked to give up our voice in order to move freely. When we are asked to silence what makes us unique in order to be successful, when not making waves means giving up our chance to dive into the deep, then we are bartering our access to God for a better driveway. As a story about relationship, the lesson of Ariel is crucial. On the surface, her desire for legs seems touching and sweetly motivated by love and the want to belong. Yet here too is another false bargain that plagues everyone who ever tries it. For no matter how badly we want to love or be loved, We cannot alter our basic nature and survive inside where it counts. We are being asked to sit quietly and consider our own history of love. As you exhale, consider a time when you gave up some aspect of yourself in order to be loved. As you inhale, allow yourself to reconnect with this silenced part of your nature. As always, Leo, I hope you are doing very well. I hope to see you on Patreon. Until next time.